happened? All these years of waiting to see Spider-Man again, 92 long days after the trailer leaking, having to secretly rewatch that potato cam footage in fear of being shot, and an entire day of Marvel edging us with clips. The first trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day is finally here, and holy shit, did it live up to the hype. It's 7 a.m. I've not even had breakfast yet, but we are feasting on this Spider-Man trailer. I woke up early for this and could not be more excited to finally talk about it. I would say that I'm at a loss for words about how much I love this trailer, but you've already seen the runtime. This trailer was all I could have ever wanted and things I didn't even know I wanted. It's the Spider-Man movie of my dreams finally realized, giving us this innovative direction for the character in the most beautifully stylized way possible. It really does feel like the start of a brand new day. There is so much to talk about, so let me just dive right into it and start with the most important stuff. Peter Parker has never been more miserable in his life, and I love it. Nearly every single frame of this trailer is all in service of making his life a living hell, and that is a wonderful thing to see as a Spider-Man fan. I think the line, "Sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart," is the most quintessential Spider-Man dialogue we have ever seen that completely summarizes the character. And this trailer is going the extra mile to drive that point home as we see Peter Parker living in constant agony. I really like the framing device of this trailer, having Peter narrate it and read the note he was originally going to give MJ at the end of No Way Home. Shout out to Nero Does Stuff on Twitter, who actually transcribed Peter's letter to MJ, and I'm not going to read out the full thing because you got eyes, you can do that for yourself. But I do want to talk about this last line because it is so poignant when Peter says, "Maybe that's my responsibility, to live alone with the truth. But the truth is, I love you. And I hope that deep down, something inside you remembers you love me too." Oh my god, dude, this movie is going to ruin me, and Marvel Studios better pay for my therapy. It's a great little detail that finally answers what he was planning on saying to her, but I hope that he constantly has that note on him as a way to torment himself. As if he's always tempted to break the spell and get his old life back, but has to remember what he's fighting for. Oh god, this movie is going to put Peter Parker through the ringer, and we are all better off for it. I want them to make that boy suffer! Sorry, I'm getting way too into this, but in my defense, I'm running on very little sleep because Marvel decided to drop all these trailers throughout the night, and I needed to see every single one like a drug. But you can't blame me when we get to see Spider-Man looking like a mess, broken alone, having to wash his own suit now, getting the shit kicked out of him as he's cucked on a cosmic level while the universe hates him, and I am here for it. But the cherry on top of this Peter Parker suffering world tour is when he's visiting Aunt May's grave. I already know that scene is going to destroy me in the theater, but please Marvel, if this movie does one thing, let the opening narration from this film and the presumed montage be Peter recapping what happened over the last few years to May's grave. It is such a beautiful way to not only catch us up on what we've missed with MCU Spider-Man as he's developed this rogues gallery and we get to see some insane visuals, but it's a way to break our hearts and show that Peter still hasn't moved on and blames himself for what happened to May. Routinely visiting her and talking to her tombstone because that's the only semblance of a family he has left. Not to keep overdoing my glee in his pain, but I'm going around my room pumping my fist to stuff like this. It fills me with so much adrenaline to finally see MCU Spider-Man portrayed with this kind of characterization. Watching Peter operate in that mindset and trying to navigate this new status quo for him is honestly what I'm most looking forward to in this film as they do the ending of No Way Home justice and fully explore the ramifications of his actions. It means we're finally going to see the most accurate version of Spider-Man brought to screen, and it's all reflected so well in that gorgeous masterpiece of a suit. This costume, dude, oh my god, I could make an entire video gushing about how great this suit looks. And I have. Twice! But I truly believe with every fiber of my being that this is the best Spider-Man has ever looked in live action. I will not hear otherwise. I am obsessed with every single little detail of this suit. It has been carefully and meticulously handcrafted to make Spider-Man look cooler than he ever has on screen. The color pops so well against a grimy New York background. That red is so strong and bold and contrasts really well with the shiny blue. More than anything, I really love how the light hits this costume to showcase the colors and the raised webbing, giving it this extra accent of texture. And the new angular lenses on the mask go so hard and make him look much more intimidating to reflect this tortured mindset he's got himself in. It really looks like a Chichetto drawing of Spider-Man brought to life. And while I will miss the expressive lenses, I do think they had to go if we wanted to strip this costume back to basics and make it feel like a guy in a cloth suit. Plus, Tom Holland is an incredible actor and is doing great work through body language alone on selling Peter's emotions. But by far, my favorite aspect of this suit is the thing that nobody's going to be talking about, the wrinkles. Oh my god, you don't know how much I have missed seeing them on a Spider-Man costume. because of the fact that the old suit was advanced technology that tightened to his body, we missed out on that layer of detail, but I think it goes a long way to add tangibility to the suit and make it feel real. For as much as I love Homecoming, it was the biggest culprit of that problem as they fully CGI'd over that suit and you could tell. And while Marvel has definitely gotten better at making this suit look realistic over the years, it's nice to see this kind of attention to detail again. Look at a shot like this, for example. Seeing the suit ripple in the air adds this extra sense of realism as he hurtles towards danger. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 understood that perfectly, so I am so glad Brand New Day is picking up with that thread, and hopefully actually making a good movie out of it too. Even the way he puts on the mask in one take is so clean. It is an impossible shot to do in practicality with the face shield, and it is done expertly through VFX and attention to detail to make this shot blend together and feel practical. It's just one of those tiny little details that makes Spider-Man feel real, and in a movie that's supposed to be the most street-level Spider-Man film to date, that is a necessity and tells me the creative team are going the extra mile to commit to that idea. And as an extension of all that detail, the way he is moving is the coolest thing ever. I'm never gonna shut up about it. All of this grandiose agility feels larger than life as he's striking poses that only he could, moving around in the most dynamic and exciting way possible. It truly feels like a big comic book splash panel come to life every single time he's in that costume. The action in this movie is going to be life-changing. We only get a brief look at it in this trailer, but the web swinging and emphasis on doing things as practically as possible looks so sick. The fact that they actually had someone on the side of this tank to make that shot real is incredible to me and will always blow my mind. It really pays off in the movie as there's an extra sense of weight to this scene watching him actually on that tank for real. I cannot wait to get a better look at it after all these set photos we've seen of him swinging through the skies fighting this tank, which was in literally every single shot, but seeing it again in this trailer feels like seeing an old friend for the first time in a few years. I really miss that tank. I almost feel like I have a paternal bond with it now, so I'm scared to see it in danger, but at least it's gonna be the coolest thing ever. The action in this trailer is amazing, and the fact that he's doing something like a web slingshot is so sick. Even if he does seemingly have organic webbing in this shot, so let's just talk about it and address that big elephant in the room. The mysterious voiceover at the tail end of this trailer clues us into the evolution of Peter's character in the movie when he says, "Spiders have 3 life cycles. When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats. And for those spiders who make it through, it amounts to a kind of rebirth." By the way, am I going insane, or is that Keith David's voice narrating this trailer? At first I thought it was Marvin Jones' Tombstone, but he just does not sound like that, so I feel like it has to be Keith David who is secretly cast in this movie. And also it doesn't really make sense for Tombstone to know a lot about spiders, but I guess if I had to place my bets on who he's playing, it was rumored a while back that the Jackal would be appearing in this film, so maybe Keith David is playing Miles Warren before he becomes the Jackal? Before he ruins Spider-Man history forever in the Clone Saga, he was actually a professor of biochemistry at Empire State University, so I can absolutely see him going to Professor Warren for advice after he talks to Banner. The contexted lines make a lot more sense when he's talking to a chemistry teacher anyway, so either all the dots are starting to connect, or I have finally lost my mind. But that's gotta be him talking about Peter's evolution here, right? So clearly Peter's body is going to be going through some changes in this movie as a form of spider puberty. And as for the organic webbing itself, it wouldn't have been my first choice, but I think I figured out how it can work. My big theory is that Peter gets organic webs because he's pushing himself too hard as Spider-Man and not spending enough time as Peter Parker, literally becoming more spider than man in this reverse Spider-Man 2-esque story that reflects his current mental state. That way it's just a temporary upgrade that goes away when he learns to balance his life again. And I love that idea if so. I've always been an organic webbing hater. I think that they are just too convenient, and the drama that comes with limited resources is much more interesting to me, but I'm open to the idea of him getting organic webbing if the justification makes enough sense. So I'm not going to deny the fact that it could be really great symbolism to have his powers reflect where he is mentally, and add an extra layer that parallels his journey. It's also really cool to think about because Peter's body is effectively rewarding him for pushing away his real life with this unhealthy Spider-Man obsession, and that is a dangerous path to walk that would be so exciting to see Peter's character take, especially when everything in life is reaffirming he made the correct choice. And I think that using his powers to force him down this path is a great decision, especially when he flies way too close to the sun and maybe even becomes Man-Spider in the 3rd act because of it. I don't know, that would be pretty crazy, but honestly, I kinda love the idea. It's something we've never seen before in live action and would be a really cool way to tie Peter's powers into his mindset. And he looks so cool doing it. We're getting visuals we never could have seen otherwise, and Destin is taking full advantage of that. Look at a shot like this. This fucking Peak shot. Dude, there's not enough honey in the world to pour on Destin Daniel Craig. My goat is cooking harder than ever. This is such an incredible shot inside of the mask, showing us how claustrophobic it can feel. An entire city within the reflection of his eye, zooming in from this grandiose dive to make things feel intimate and real. None of that loud wind as all the noise fades away and we're left with just a quiet breath. Holy shit! We have not seen such inspired Spider-Man visuals since the day of Sam Raimi, and this honestly might surpass it for me. I know I'm very biased because Destin Daniel Craig is one of my favorite filmmakers, obligatory go watch Short Term 12 comment, but I truly think he has the potential to give us definitive live-action Spider-Man visuals. Whether it be the larger-than-life framing of the shots, or the way the camera is moving in dynamic and exciting ways, he just gets it, man. He has such a creative approach with this movie, doing the coolest possible thing in every moment. The visuals give me so much life. And don't get me wrong, I am a home trilogy defender through and through. I think Jon Watts did a great job with Spider-Man and bringing him down to earth as this high school hero. But here's the thing. Look at the sauce here, man. I mean, come on. What an upgrade. I think this one shot here is my favorite example of the overall visual style of the film as we see Peter swinging through the city on this bright, hopeful day. It's not only a great indication of the style Destin is bringing to the film as the camera is moving alongside Peter in this really dynamic way, but it shows us the bright and vibrant colors popping on screen as Peter crashes throughout this golden city as he's, what I can only assume, testing out his new organic webbing. The city feels alive and like an actual character in it of itself. Just please let Destin handle Spider-Man forever. This feels like a match made in heaven, especially when it comes to the color grading. Oh my god. The bright and vibrant colors feel so at home here with this moody blue palette that really drives home Peter's mindset in the film. These are intentional choices and thoughtful design that come together to create a beautiful film. You can really tell that the visuals of the film were graded with the intention of having these suits stand out against the backdrop, which really speaks to me. It's almost like they're visually trying to tell us that Spider-Man is the one bright spot in Peter's life and in New York City as a whole as the vibrant symbol of hope for the people. Even if he is a total fraud and sleeping when Daredevil could use him on his army, he's out here doing all the hard work while Peter gets a key to the city and he's stuck with Cherry. But at least he's gonna be getting tortured! Sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, the visuals. I really love the way they're paying homage to the comics with all these cover recreations. It warms my heart to see them do stuff like Amazing Spider-Man 134 with Tarantula, even down to the cops in the background shooting at them, or Amazing Spider-Man 345 with the way Boomerang is going after him, which honestly this might just be my favorite Spider-Man shot of all time now. But by far, the most important one is the Amazing Fantasy 15 recreation. That always hits like crack for me. I'm such a sucker for that. I will clap like a seal every time he carries that guy in such an awkward position. Now, if we want to get really delusional, the color grading kinda lines up with Thunderbolt's last act. I know. I don't think we're gonna see the Void physically there, but I think it would be really cool if they showed Spider-Man saving citizens while that was happening. One of the biggest problems with the Sony Marvel rights deal for Spider-Man is that we can't have him as ingrained in the MCU as I'd like, so he just seems like a bum when he's not there, and Born Again and Thunderbolts when his city is being attacked. So I think this opening montage would be a great way to fix that and retroactively have him there saving citizens from the Void's attack. You can't tell me that wouldn't go hard and make Spider-Man not look like the bum he actually is. And hey, maybe that's why Yelena is apparently in this movie. She tries to recruit him to the Avengers during that montage, and then Peter says no because he still can't open himself up to other people, even heroes. I think it's really important to make that distinction and show that it's not just exclusive to his loved ones, and he's not even willing to work with other superheroes. You can't get much better than that and would deliver on the shared universe Spider-Man storytelling we have been missing out on. Even if they don't go that way, we still have Spider-Man and the Punisher teaming up in this trailer, which is gonna fill that quota for me, and is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. First off, the Punisher hitting Spider-Man with his van is the funniest possible clip they could have used to introduce him. I guess the Parker luck means you just get hit by vehicles all the time. I hope to God this is his first scene in the movie and there's no prior introduction with him before that. A surprise appearance out of nowhere like that is a great way to show how he's literally forcing himself into this story and giving us this new dynamic between him and Spider-Man. And the fact that we're actually getting the Punisher in his battle van is the icing on the cake. We got it here and there in the Punisher show, but this feels like the perfect environment to actually see Frank driving around in that. Because of the tone of a Spider-Man story in this heightened reality, you can get away with doing stuff like that and it won't feel out of place at all. Having him drive around in a car with his logo spray painted on the front feels right at home in a Spider-Man movie. I already know Marvel's gonna make bank off those toys. Hopefully it even comes with pig killing action. I genuinely can't stop watching this clip. He just flattens him. He probably floored it seeing Spider-Man coming. It's so good and incredibly on brand for Frank. That man is a wrecking ball in New York City. I know Spider-Man must hate dealing with him. It's very clear they already have a pre-existing relationship, as Peter knows him by name and they got this banter going back and forth with each other. So I assume they've had some run-ins in the past, but I really love that Peter just sees the Punisher as a pain in the ass and isn't gonna take any of his shit. It's about time that somebody finally humbled Frank. Daredevil is way too good of a person and wants to try and change Frank, but Peter's just gonna tell him to go home and let the grown-ups handle it. It's very cool to see him all grown up now. It's no more, oh, sorry, Mr. Castle. No, sit your ass down, Frank, and go home. That is the exact kind of dynamic I want to see with these two, and I'm so glad this movie is going to deliver on it. It's honestly just surreal to see them together in general. I cannot believe we finally made it to this point. Imagine showing this shot to someone in 2016 when the Punisher and Spider-Man both made their MCU debuts. It's even more insane when you consider that exactly 10 years ago today, the Punisher made his MCU debut in Daredevil Season 2, and now here we are where he's in a trailer for a Spider-Man movie. We've come so far to now where that Netflix corner of the MCU is no longer separated from the rest. It puts the biggest smile on my face. I'm so excited to see how Frank works his way into the movie and how much of an antagonistic role he has with Peter, as he's probably going around trying to put down villains like the Scorpion while Spider-Man tries to rehabilitate them. Seeing that back and forth throughout the movie is going to add 10 years to my life. And it's going to be even better when we get to see them grow to have this mutual respect between each other. If there's a second thing I desperately need in this movie, I want Peter to get beat so bad he's got bones sticking out of his body, so Frank takes him to Claire to get patched up and we get this moment from Civil War in live action. You got one shot at this, guys. Please don't mess it up. For as excited as I am to see Spider-Man and the Punisher interacting with each other, I'm more interested in seeing how he's going to interact with MJ and her newly red hair. I'm so glad they finally did it. Even if it's just a hint of red in that hair, it is one step closer to her being a full redhead, which they need to do. Zendaya looks great with it. There's no excuse not to. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that MJ is back this soon, but I think her coming back is a great decision. While I completely understand wanting her gone for an entire movie and think that could have worked, with her back in the picture, you can directly show how much it hurts Peter losing her when she's just out of arm's reach rather than completely missing. The idea of Peter getting an apartment across the hall from her just to watch over her is perfect. If MJ isn't there, Peter actually gets to heal faster. But if we want to properly explore the consequences of the spell, he needs to always be stuck around her as this constant reminder of how much better off they are without him just twisting the knife. It is diabolical that Peter is stalking her Instagram page and sees a story where Ned says, "Pretend like you're not the happiest you've ever been in your entire life," and she agrees with it. That is nasty work, but a great way to torture Peter Parker, which I fully support. If MJ's not there, you run the risk of the spell's weight not being felt in the film. But in an odd twist of fate, her being there actually makes her absence felt more, as Peter has to watch her get a new boyfriend and make out with Jabba the Hutt. If you get that reference, you're a real one. All of that is made even worse for Peter because MJ is still wearing the black dahlia necklace he got her in Far From Home. She just doesn't remember why she likes it so much and then is going on to kiss her new boyfriend while wearing it. I don't know how Peter has the strength to keep living after something like that. They are straight up inventing new ways to torture him. Also, Marvel, you've got the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. Please let his name be Paul. I know the war flashbacks are gonna hit hard, but it would be so goddamn funny to tease comic fans with his presence and then subvert expectations when he's not actually that Paul. Please, hopefully, don't actually introduce Paul, okay? I'll kill myself in the theater, but just have a little fun with it. All that matters to me is that you don't break the spell in the movie. At most, save it for a post-credit scene. If you look closely in the background, it does look like MJ might be trying to figure out who Spider-Man is again based on the fact that there are so many Spider-Man pictures plastered around her apartment, and I do like that direction for her character. MJ and Ned should still remember that they worked with Spider-Man, just not know who he is based on the spell, so they must be really confused as to why he ghosted them. The No Way Home script and this look on MJ's face tease the fact that she has a lingering sense of recognition, so having her become obsessed with trying to figure out Spider-Man's identity is a really great idea. Just please have some restraint and don't have them get back together in this movie. It's very clear to me that Peter is going to break that spell and tell her that he loves her at one point, and he absolutely should. That moment is the final destination for his character arc as he embraces being Peter Parker again, and will be very rewarding when it happens because they are putting in the work to earn that reveal. Then in another movie you can play around with what happens after, as maybe MJ is mad at Peter for not breaking her out of it right away, and then Peter can go meet Gwen in the meantime before she dies. But you can't just not do Peter and MJ. We saw how that went in the comics, and I'm not trying to have the MCU stuck in that same position. They are a one true pairing and need to end up together. And to do that right, MJ is desperately needed in this movie to feel the weight of their lack of connection in every scene, but you gotta let that gap between them breathe. It's a very tricky line to walk, but I have faith this movie is going to do it right. There is this one shot in the trailer where Spider-Man is talking to MJ, which I think is very interesting because I really want Peter to save her, but not have the strength to tell her his identity. It would be an important moment for MJ to directly ask him who he is and give Peter this opportunity to finally make things right, only for him to hesitate and run away. That would be so peak because we get to see Peter double down on his decision and struggle with his choices after seeing MJ and Ned thriving. I want that kid to have an emotional breakdown over this stuff. And on the topic of Ned, I really love this little moment where Peter gets caught off guard by seeing him. It's so brutal. He's finally putting himself out there, being Peter Parker for once, only to be blindsided by what he lost. He is never allowed a moment of peace in or out of the costume as the world is constantly beating him down. But it's the look on his face that breaks me. There's a deep sadness behind those eyes as he misses talking to his friend, but the faintest smile on his face. He gets to see Ned doing well out in public, which makes him feel better about his choice, even if he has nothing because of it. It's the only time we see any kind of joy on his face, and I pray it stays that way. Am I being too mean? Nah, he should suffer. I will give Peter some credit. I do like that he's actively trying to attend ESU, and that's where he meets Bruce Banner again. Or for the first time, because it's crazy to think they never met before this. But I'm very excited to see that connection form. Despite the 4-year time jump between No Way Home and Brand New Day, I'm very glad that we're not skipping over his college era because I think that's where Peter Parker might be at his most interesting for me. We don't get much of Banner in this trailer outside of the one scene they show where he warns about DNA, but I love that he's Peter's teacher at ESU. It is such a natural way to include him in this story and give Banner something new and interesting to do. Obviously, Peter only wants him there as a scientist, but Hulk stuff is bound to happen and go crazy. As always, merchandise leaks have spoiled the fact that we're going to see the Savage Hulk in this movie, and that has me bouncing around my room with excitement. I really didn't mind the Professor Hulk stuff as much as other people did. I think it was a great way to handle his arc in the Infinity Saga, but it really can't stay forever because it kneecaps Hulk's storytelling as they cut him off from what makes him most interesting, his dissociative identity disorder. Let's hope that Brand New Day fixes that and gives us a proper story about rage with the Hulk at the center of it. That through line of handling rage has been the biggest thing that's helped me understand what this movie is trying to do. You've got someone like Banner who has become an expert at handling his rage, and then you contrast that with the Punisher, someone who just lets it fly. Then you put Peter in the middle of those two as he's given this push and pull between wanting to let go after being isolated for so long and trying to get his life back on track. I know I said that seeing Spider-Man and Punisher in the same movie together was surreal, but it's even more surreal that we're going to see Spider-Man, the Hulk, and the Punisher share the screen together, especially considering the legal nightmare that must be to pull that off with Universal, Sony, and Marvel all coming together to make that happen. It is a miracle they cleared that. And now we're going to see 3 of Marvel's most popular characters in a beautiful story about handling your own rage. And you can only do that if you actually do Hulk storytelling. Please, Marvel, it's been so long, the Hulk is such a cool character, stop nerfing him and let the Hulk be cool again. And then give me Joe Fixit as well. If we don't get to see him in a full suit and hat, I don't even want the movie in the first place. I don't mean that, I'm sorry. Please make the movie, but also put him in a silly hat. I do wonder what it's going to be that triggers this unbalance within Banner's ecosystem that makes him become the Savage Hulk again. And I feel like it's got to be Sadie Sink's very mysterious character who's totally not playing Jean Grey in the worst kept secret of all time. You might be wondering why I'm so confident that Sadie is playing Jean Grey considering we don't even see her face in this trailer. Let me tell you. First off, there's an article that came out a few months ago that said Kevin Feige has been so focused on Doomsday he only took a break to do 2 things. Hire Jake Schreier to do the MCU X-Men movie and personally cast Sadie Sink. I wonder if there's a connection between those 2 dots and the Hatman's enthusiasm for the MCU X-Men. Second, she's playing a redhead who can read minds and control people. If that's not Jean Grey, I don't know what is. Third, she's wearing green colors. Come on, dude. A 3rd grader can pick up on that. Fourth, she's going to return in Secret Wars. I don't think someone like Charlie Cooper would do that. Finally, the 5th reason, and maybe the most important one, Tremel Tillman's role in this movie. We get one shot of Tremel Tillman in this film, but he's rumored to be playing the new leader of Damage Control, X-Men villain William Metzger. In the comics, he leads something called the Anti-Mutant Militia, and in this movie, he's gonna be hunting down Sadie Sink. I was a Jean denier for a long time, but at a certain point, you gotta call a spade a spade. She's definitely playing Jean Grey, right? I mean, we're gonna find out in like a month when the Funko Pop gets released, so get ready for that, but until then, I think it's a safe bet to say she's gonna be playing Jean. How she fits into this movie, I have no f***ing clue. If I had to take a wild stab in the dark at how Jean fits into this movie, I do think it would be interesting to contrast her with Spider-Man. Jean Grey is very obviously a mutant, but to the general public, Spider-Man might look like one too. So maybe they both get caught up in this conspiracy by the Department of Damage Control, and they're both being hunted as if they're mutants. It would be a fun way to tackle the idea of the Marvel Universe not hating people who aren't mutants, because Spider-Man is technically a mutate, but he's getting the key to the city, while Sadie's being hunted for sport. And maybe Spider-Man begins to become more of a target as he starts to exhibit more visible symptoms like becoming Man-Spider. And it's only then that he's finally able to team up with Sadie now that he's seen what she has to go through, and we get this little redemption arc with her by the end. That's just off the top of my head, but I do really like that idea and how it works her into the movie. I just don't know how it works with like all the Punisher and Scorpion stuff, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Ignoring the Spider-Man part of it all, I do think Sadie Sink is great Jean Grey casting. She's an incredibly talented and young actress who can carry that role for decades to come. Why would you not want her to play Jean Grey? She absolutely fits the bill. Also, I do really love the telepathy effect they've gone with and how you can see her actively entering people's minds like a ghost. That's such a cool way to handle her powers and adds a lot of tension to the scene as you see heads bobbing when she goes from person to person. I really wish I had more to offer in this section, but for the life of me, I can't figure out how she fits into this movie, but Destin Danielle Cretton has earned my full trust, so I'm excited to see what she brings to the table, and also the fact that we're finally seeing the MCU X-Men start to form after all these years. Alright, let me talk about some other villains real quick, because we got so many of them in this trailer. It's really cool to see a full Spider-Man Rogues Gallery feature in a film. That's never really been something we've had in any live-action Spider-Man universe. We've had movies with multiple villains before, to a very bad degree, but we've never actually had a proper Rogues Gallery existing of people who all hate Spider-Man and want him dead. I assume we're gonna see most of them like Tarantula and Boomerang in that montage at the start of the film, but still, it's really cool to see them in live action, especially someone like Boomerang. That costume is flawless. I love how it's a combination of his original and modern design, blending his history together to create something new that pays homage to the past. It's amazing to me that someone as silly as Boomerang is going to be in a live-action Spider-Man movie. I genuinely never thought that would happen, but it is a blessing. Bonus points if Peter needs to take on a roommate due to being broke as hell, and Boomerang ends up being his new roommate. I doubt they ever do that story in live action, but please, Marvel, consider the drama of Peter living next to a supervillain and not being able to reveal it without outing himself as well. Tarantula also looks sick in his own right, but I do wish they gave him that full-on chest logo and a better mask that actually showed his defining mustache, but the design itself works, and I'm just glad they actually did the foot blades. And real quick, just on Tombstone, because he's not featured in this trailer whatsoever, but I think that's intentional. I feel like Tombstone is going to be the invisible hand pulling the strings of this entire operation, so they're trying to hide him as much as possible in the marketing to make his appearance feel more special when he finally arrives. But don't worry, if you can't wait to see him, I got you covered. Look at this leaked photo from a few weeks back showing us how incredible Marvin Jones III looks as Tombstone, and then please pray for me because I'm putting my life at risk showing you this. Outside of Spider-Man himself, I think Tombstone looks the best. This design is basically one-to-one from the comics, even down to the cartoonish flat top. It's perfect. We got another comic cover homage in the way he's holding Spider-Man there, which is always satisfying, especially when you know he's going to be kicking Peter's ass. Who I really want to talk about, though, is Michael Mando finally returning as the Scorpion. 9 long, agonizing years waiting to see him again, and finally they are paying off that post-credits scene, and I could not be more excited about it. Especially because of the threat he poses to Spider-Man, considering that last time we saw him, he wanted to know who Spider-Man was, and I'm sure he's gonna go out of his way to unmask him, and that is a great layer of drama to add to this movie. Scorpion getting his revenge and trying to unmask Spider-Man after he just put that genie back in the bottle is a really tense situation to put Peter into. As for the Scorpion design itself, it looks great. I'm so glad it differs from that original concept art and is a more traditional look for the character, especially when it comes to that tail. I was really not rocking with that tube look, so seeing this structure that actually resembles a real-life Scorpion is just spot on. All he's missing now is a mask, but hopefully it just got ripped off earlier on during the fight. The costume only has 2 defining features, so removing one of them would be crazy. In the comics, the Scorpion is actually funded by J. Jonah Jameson, so I think it could be interesting if they're doing that here as well. The last time we saw Jameson on screen, he was questioning who Spider-Man is. Maybe that's being taken to an obsessive degree to a point where he's taking all the money he's made off selling supplements and funneling that into the Scorpion to get the scoop of the century. And whenever the Scorpion is involved, it's all but a guarantee that we're going to get get a hallucination scene when Peter gets injected with his toxin, and I already have a strong feeling that could be the best scene of the entire movie. If it's anything like Mysterio's illusion sequence, we are in for a treat. With Mysterio, it was more focused on mental manipulation and breaking Peter down to the point where he didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. With Scorpion, I need it to look like a horror movie inside his head. I want to be jump scared. I want to be terrified. I want to pee a little in my seat from how bad it scares me. Let me see Peter confront all of his worst fears and anxieties as the Scorpion tortures him inside of his own head. Maybe that's even what's happening right here in this scene when he gets home and collapses. Realistically, that's just how it feels to be a 22-year-old getting home from college, but I want to see him get stung by the Scorpion. While it's really cool to see the Scorpion return, we knew that was happening. What we didn't know, unless you watched the leaked trailer, is that the Hand is in this movie? Hello? What? The last time we saw the Hand was in The Defenders, and what an upgrade this is for them. They actually look like a ninja clan, and they've been given the red outfits. This is truly spectacular. I can't wrap... I'm genuinely baffled in the most exciting possible way, especially because I have no clue what they're doing in this movie. Maybe somebody hired them to kill Spider-Man, maybe they're just in the opening montage, or maybe they have a larger role than any of us could expect, as they're actually in that prison breakout sequence, it seems, when Peter is weirdly unmasked fighting them. Something insane is happening, and I'm gonna spiral out of control trying to figure out what it is. And the delusional part of my brain can't help but think about how this is a connection to Daredevil. Is Daredevil gonna be in this movie? With the Hand involved, there is now a non-zero chance that he appears in this movie. Are the Hand gonna appear in Born Again Season 2? Are they still trying to get the Dragon Bones under New York City, a thing that's now canon to the MCU? What is happening that the Hand have an important role in the MCU again? I feel like this is just going to be a reintroduction for the Hand that sets him up for something in Born Again Season 3. I have a whole theory about how Vanessa's gonna die, and then Fisk is gonna hire the Hand to revive her, and then Matt's gonna revive Foggy. It's a whole thing. I'll explain it later. But it's so cool that Marvel remembered they could just use these villain organizations whenever they wanted to and put them in a Spider-Man movie. As insane as I may sound, and as tired as I may be, I have not felt this alive in a long time. There is nothing quite like a new Spider-Man movie trailer, and this just hit the spot. They still got a little work to do on the CGI here and there, but besides that, this trailer was everything I could have ever wanted it to be. The world is a much better place when there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out, and seeing everybody come together to get excited for it is the coolest feeling, because God, it has been a long, dark 5 years waiting to see him again. Director Destin Daniel Cretton is doing some truly innovative stuff with Spider-Man that has me on the edge of my seat waiting to see what he's cooking up this summer as we finally embark on the next chapter of Spider-Man's storytelling. But what do we do now? We've spent so long waiting for the trailer. What's next? I guess we wait for another trailer? But I've run out of patience, so here's what we're gonna do. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we all meet outside Sony headquarters. We storm the building. We get all the footage. We see Spider-Man early. Who's with me? They can't arrest all of us! But why don't you let me know down below what you thought about the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. I would genuinely love to hear what everyone has to say and continue the conversation down below. And while you're at it, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you don't do it, I'm gonna make sure everybody in your life forgets you exist. Except for me, so you better subscribe because I'm gonna be your only friend.